It's essential, if we're going to walk this path, that every day we're able to be grounded, be joyful, that we rejoice in simply walking upon this earth. This is essential. I see so many people try to walk this path. They do everything right except they don't know how to be grounded and joyful. And so it's like they're hitting their head against a wall for a long time. But it's so easy. It's so sad to see how hard it is for us to do something so easy. It is not hard to be grounded and joyful. A long time ago, I went skiing with a friend on a lake. Frozen lake, covered in snow. Deep snow all around, blanketing the forest surrounding that expanse of flat, white stillness. The cedars growing all around. Some islands in this pond, this little lake. The occasional tracks of a coyote strolling across that snow-covered ice. We skied and eventually happened to meet up on the shore. Just happened to encounter each other again, each skiing in our own way. And looking at those cedar trees, she smiled and said, "It's so easy to be happy." It is easy to be happy. I know that might seem like a mean thing to say. I understand that. If we're caught, if we've forgotten how to be grounded and joyful each day, I understand that. But I'm saying it because I want to encourage you. Do whatever you have to do to get out of your head, to stop thinking about all of these troublesome positions, memories, fantasies. I know it can feel hard, but I'm sorry to put it this way, but I say this with compassion and sympathy, understand. But it's not that hard. I don't mean to offend you or insult you. So please don't take offense. But it's just not that hard. I know it can seem hard. I know. We're sitting in our room and we could go out and take a walk in the woods, but an hour or two passes and we just didn't. And then a week or so passes and we didn't. And then we forget how to be grounded and happy. We just don't remember. And it seems like it's probably very hard because we can't do it. So I'm trying to encourage you to consider the possibility that perhaps it isn't. Think about it that way. Maybe it's not hard to get up, put on your boots, and go for a walk in the woods and Ground yourself in that wet soil. And remember that you do not know how those trees grow the way they do. And they just keep doing it whether you look or don't. And yet you're allowed to be a part of that. Head out there and watch the spring unfold. A lot of the time I feel like we want this so much. We want to finally clear our heads of all these thoughts. Just clear our heads of all these thoughts. Oh, so many ideas about so many things. But we don't know how, and we want those thoughts so much, we cling to them, and they're the things that make us right, and so we are stuck. A part of us wants to get free, and I have the sense actually that we create the drama that we do, and we create the crises that we do because we want to be free of this so much that we want something big to happen that'll get us out of our heads finally. We want to be free of it that much because we know how much it hurts to be caught in that way. I just now, just a little while ago, got back to the cabin that I live in to suddenly discover there's a wood stove in that cabin, to discover a chimney fire, which is, for those of you who know, extremely dangerous. The chimney was red hot. There were flames coming out of the seams between the segments of the chimney. And immediate action was required. I grabbed the fire extinguisher and then realized it's not going to help. The fire's in the chimney. I had the sense that if I opened the door of the stove to put the fire extinguisher in, regardless of the fact that it would have burned my hands quite a bit, it would have maybe increased the heat enough to simply make the chimney collapse. It was already red, hot, melting. And so very fast, I'm not sure how it happened that so fast, I climbed up to the top of the roof. Very fast. There was a ladder nearby, but it was very slippery up there with the snow on it, which is very slippery right now, the way it is. And I somehow scrambled up to the chimney, needing to judge how fast should I go. There's a risk every bit faster I go, there's a risk of falling off and dying. Every moment I wait, there's a risk of the whole place catching on fire. So I had to balance that, very present. Got there, and then I just dumped a lot of snow down the chimney. And put it out, and the cabin is still there. Well, I suppose. Last time I left it and came back, it was almost gone, so maybe now it's gone. But to the best of my knowledge, I managed to put out the fire, putting a lot of snow down the chimney. And hearing it explode, so hot in there. Imagine a cylinder that's red hot with fire in it, putting snow in it. I put in it would explode. I put another handful through it, explode. Another one, explode. Just kept doing it until it stopped exploding in it. And I can tell you, that really clears your head. Crisis like that really moves the blood. And so I came back here in a strange way feeling fresh and renewed. And so I have the sense that a lot of the time we make these crises because we want to be fresh and renewed. And by that I mean these crises. I mean including the whole huge world crisis. We want so much to be clear, this has to be done. I have to set aside all this stuff I've been thinking about and get to work. And that situation wasn't complicated. I still almost made a few significant errors, but it was clear once I knew what had to be done, how to do it, and the urgency had a direction to it. The urgency could become action. And that feels really good when the urgency can become action. For so many of us, we have a sense of urgency, but we do not know how to take action, and so we fester and rot, tearing ourselves apart in this urgency. We are desperate, but we don't know what to do right now. We don't throw ourselves into it. And so it ought to clear us out and make us fresh and new. Instead, fills us up with shame and dread. So it's essential for us to understand in a place like this, where it isn't just that the chimney is burning, but it is that the world is burning. There is not a safe place for us. It's essential for us to be clear about what is to be done so that we can get to work and stop making things so hard on ourselves. And what must be done is that we drop attachment to self. Do not narrowly define the word self. Any sense that there is anything to grasp onto, that is called attachment to self. Don't get caught up in this narrow definition of self that so many of us have. That is not what's meant here. Any sense that there is anything to grasp onto is attachment to self. That is exactly what we cut through. And we do that with urgency, and when we do that with urgency, we know exactly what to do right now. We know the technique is what must be done. The technique is what must be done. And we do it with the same kind of urgency and care. Urgency but care that one might experience if one had clambered up onto a slippery roof and was making one's way towards a burning chimney. On the very structure that is about to completely burst into flames, in order to shovel a little bit of snow into it and put out the whole fire. It really works like that. It's a surprisingly good metaphor. It's not that hard if you do it. But you have to do it carefully. You balance the urgency with the care, and the care with the urgency. And most important, we don't give up. We don't just give up. We try to do something. We're not just there on the roof and conclude, well, it's pretty hard to take care of this slipperiness and get to the roof, to the chimney, so I'll just wait here. Give up. Maybe slip off. Maybe burn here. I don't know. What can I do? It's too hard. Let's think about politics. One ideally does not do that. One makes one's way to that chimney carefully, but urgently, but carefully, and urgently, and does what must be done. One does this technique urgently, carefully, and urgently, but carefully, and does what must be done. We do what must be done. We make our way there, and we quench this fire. We learn exactly how to quench the fires of greed, hate, ignorance, because we have the technique, we have the teachings, we have the methods, and we utilize them.